Monday. Kyrie Irving is leaving his agent and will join Jay-Z's Roc Nation, that according to ESPN. Kyrie about to hit free agency. Rumors have had him joining either the Nets or the Knicks as a package deal with Kevin Durant, who, by the way, also repped by Roc Nation. The CEO of the Nets is also the brother of the president of Roc Nation. Following all that? Shannon, what does all of this tell you?
Well, this tells me that he's not going back to Boston. Let's just start with that. And the closeness, this family tree, Jen, that you read, he's the brother, the cousin that started this and that. Look, I don't know if he ends up at New York or Brooklyn. We just know definitively he's not going back to the Celtics. Skip, also, Kevin Durant's agent, Rich Kleiman, he helped start launch Roc Nation.
He did.
He spun off to focus on 35 Ventures, which is KD exclusive. So maybe this is a pairing that they end up in the same locale, be it Brooklyn or New York. Skip, there's no definitive way to really tell. I mean, because for the longest time, we heard that KD and Kyrie wanted to pair up in New York. Now we're starting to hear that Kyrie really likes Brooklyn, and he's trying to talk KD into coming over to Brooklyn. The one thing that we know absolutely for certain, everything else is speculation at this point, he's not going back to the Boston Celtics.
Okay. I'm with you on that because as a longtime Kyrie fan, I must say I was extremely disappointed in Kyrie's performance this past season. He showed me...
The whole season or just the playoffs?
Both. It was a terrible lack of leadership through the whole year where he tried to distance himself and sort of elevate himself above his teammates, disconnect from his teammates. And then it paid no dividends, obviously, in the postseason. And when he tried to make up for his lack of leadership by just taking over games, he failed repeatedly. And it just showed me he can't fly solo. He does need to be with a LeBron or with a Kevin Durant. I still think he's the best closer in the game, but he needs somebody else to provide the first three quarters or the leadership or take the onus and the focus off him in the big picture. So to your point, he's not going back to Boston because I just think he failed miserably in his quest to show the world, I'll go to Boston and I'll put the Celtics back on the map, because obviously they put themselves back on the map the playoffs before. They got all the way to the seventh game of the conference finals without him. So it's not good for his resume what happened, but it looks like he's just accepted it. It looks like he's just said, okay, I couldn't do that, and I'm going to go here with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Skip, because remember, Skip, he wanted his own team. Yep. He wanted to lead his own team. He was ready for that. But Skip, this is not, because remember, it was reported that in the playoffs his last year in Cleveland, that he went weeks without speaking to any of his teammates.
I got it.
This is not anything new, that he was a mercurial, that sometimes he became very distant, very standoffish from his teammates. So this is who Kyrie Irving is. He's a phenomenal basketball player. We've never seen anybody that has his kind of handle, that can finish at the rim with either hand, can shoot from distance, can shoot from the mid-range game. You foul him, he's going to the free throw line, he's going to make somewhere between 86 and 88% of his foul shots. Skip, he's fantastic. But there's a side of him that says it's going to be very difficult to lead when you're that moody.
Okay. So, do I think he's going to pair up with another really moody superstar in Kevin Durant in either Knicks or Nets? I do. And I still believe that even though the Nets are much better run than the Knicks are, clearly, I still think that Kevin will lean Knicks. That's just a gut feeling I have, because Kevin knows how much it would mean for him, and obviously also Kyrie, to put the Knicks back on the map. They haven't won a championship since 1973, and that's the Mecca. That's Madison Square Garden. I just got a feeling they would lean that direction. So I don't think all these Roc Nation connections mean absolutely they're going to Brooklyn. I don't believe that yet.
Right. Well, Skip, the Nets hadn't been good since Dr. J.
Yep.
So that would be phenomenal if Kyrie and KD linked up there and brought the Nets back to respectability.
It's going to be an interesting offseason, an interesting free agency season all the way around.
As you know, and Shannon knows, sometimes something emotional can happen that takes you to an even higher level. Your focus, your energy, everything can improve to a level you really didn't think you could go to. So I think that's what will happen. So you got the Oracle Arena last game, the Kevin Durant injury, whether it's pain for a teammate and knowing what he's going to have to go through now, going into free agency and all that, whether there's some guilt for second guessing him, questioning him,
maybe,
and it came out publicly,
I'll give you that one.
right? And whether it's just not wanting him, because I don't know, and we'll get to this, of course, later, whether or not the Warriors really thought, like the management and Coach Steve Kerr and the doctors, whether or not they really thought he could injure himself worse. I bet the players didn't think that, because the players don't know all the medical stuff that the coach and the management know. So they probably were thinking it's just a calf strain. You know, he can go out there and play. And now they know what he risked to try to help them win a championship. So I don't think they don't want that to be in vain for one game. You know, he played 12 minutes, 14 minutes, one game. Let's go out there and not let that be in vain for KD. And then I think the end of an era has never been closer, right? You know KD's not playing next year. What if out of, I don't know, guilt or whatever, the Warriors offer KD the 5-year, $221 million max, super max? Will they be able to bring Clay back? Because Clay wants the max as on day one. Right. Don't disrespect me. Offer it to me on day one. I'll sign it. If they sign KD, maybe, you know, that's going to really put him in the luxury tax to bring back Clay like that. So Draymond will be a free agent after next season. So the end of this era is looking like it could possibly come to an end. So I think all three of those things will have the Warriors play. And then I'll throw this in too. They have been good in this situation. They were down 3-2 to Houston. They were down 3-1 to OKC, which was maybe a superior team with KD and Russell Westbrook. And they pulled those out. So for those reasons, and no basketball reasons, I'm going with Golden State.
I feel slightly better. Shannon Sharp.
Hey, Skip, I wish the Golden State Warriors and Steve Kerr would have thought a little bit more about this before they played Kevin Durant 12 of the first 14 minutes, whether or not he could re-injure that ankle. I don't think that was wise, but that's a discussion for another day. I took the Raptors, Chris, because I don't believe they're going to make 23-pointers again. The one thing that we do know, that without KD, the floor condenses a little bit. They will play a lot better defense. I thought Game 5 was the worst defensive game that I had seen from the Toronto Raptors. I know they're a better defense. Skip, they're long. Danny Green, 6'6", he can play defense. Kawhi Leonard, we know what he represents. We don't even have to bring him up. Serge Ibaka coming off the bench is a great defensive player. Marc Gasol is a big body, protects the rim. He can play defense. Siakam. So they're long. But for whatever reason, I think they stood around like, well, okay, KD's coming back. Let's see what he got. Well, they let him get a rhythm. And in the process of him getting a rhythm, Steph and Clay got rhythm. And Clay never lost his rhythm. Although Steph lost his rhythm somewhat in the second half because he only scored, 8 points in the second half, none bigger than that, what pick he came off of and hit a three to tie the ball game. They would do a better job. They're a better offensive rebounding team, which just keeps them in the ball game. When Golden State gets the lead, they get to the foul line because they are not as heavily dependent on the three-point shot as Golden State. So they live at the foul line. Although in the second half, they didn't get to the foul line nearly as much as they needed to. It's over. It's over, Skip Bayless. And for the sole fact, I got one reason why it's going to be over. Everybody, including me, want to see old Kawhi up on that podium with that old Bill Russell trophy. Finals MVP. I want to see that. Chris Broussard wants to see that deep down because everybody in America wants to see the pain on your face on Friday morning.
And I'm going to remind you, there are some good Spurs fans out there, some diehards who have no use for this guy right now. So don't include the Spurs fans, the good ones, in the rest of the world.
You think some do want to see Kawhi win.
Then they're not very good Spurs fans.
They're just
They're
good
not
artists.
diehards.
Yeah,
They're
that's
just
not. You ought to be.
So